Dear friends of Rabindranath Tagore, I am honored to stand here today at this temple of knowledge and education to commemorate not just the 150th anniversary of India and Asia's first Nobel laureate, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, but also to commemorate the end of a 91-year journey of Gurudev, who came to Leiden in 1920 and is returning today to stand as an eternal sentinel to the values of universal education so dear to him. He vividly portrayed the spirit of his times. One of India's greatest and most noble figures, Tagore, philosopher, educator, novelist, poet and painter, was a beacon of courage who would awaken the Indian people to their rights and freedoms. On behalf of the government and people of India, I would like to thank the city of Leiden and Leiden University for bringing Tagore's 91-year journey from Leiden a full circle. Standing in this beautiful courtyard today, surrounded by students and faculty members, I know that Gurudev will be a constant reminder that the path to knowledge should not be abandoned, and that if the road is lonely but righteous, let righteousness only prevail. Thank you. Jai Hind. Brought by plane, but there were so many bureaucratic hassles, getting it moved from Calcutta to Delhi, getting it moved from Delhi to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to The Hague. Then it stayed in the embassy garage for 2 weeks. The kind of festivals that we are commemorating here for Tagore's 150th anniversary are a wonderful performance of music, dance, as well as a theatre and a dance drama, a road show and debate in schools. All these are intended to propagate the eternal message of Tagore here in the Netherlands and to demonstrate that his message is equally valid for the Dutch as it is for the Indians. I was born into a Bengali family. Bengalis grew up with Tagore. Gurudev is our greatest hero. And Bengalis are fiercely nationalistic and patriotic. It was Tagore who returned the knighthood. And we are all brought up on his music and dance. I was taught Rabindra Sangeet, the music of Tagore, from the age of 4. So I am very much a Tagore person, a great admirer of his thoughts, his philosophy and his ideas. Why I felt the need to promote Tagore here when I came. The reason was that when I came here, I was very surprised to find that nobody knew that Tagore had been in the Netherlands to so many places. Not just to Leiden, but to other places. And that other cities, Berlin and Paris and London, were commemorating his footprints in a big way, and that we had done nothing. And I had no budget. I knew nobody. I was a complete stranger. So it was one of my biggest challenges, actually. But what I did was to set up a committee of Friends of Tagore under my chairmanship. And then slowly, as my contacts developed, I was able to interest Amstelveen, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Leiden University. It was like as I began my voyage in the Netherlands, I took Tagore with me. And for every meeting with every mayor, I took Tagore with me. And each time I got a wonderful response. his message was to uphold the human dignity of man, to stand for liberty, human rights, fundamental freedoms, and to have the courage to understand that if the path is correct but lonely, it is only righteousness that should prevail. That's a message very relevant in today's world.
Rabindranath Tagore was a prolific traveller and had considerable interest in the Netherlands from the very beginning. The credit for introducing Tagore to Dutch readers goes to Frederick van Eden. Van Eden first translated Gitanjali in 1913 and later many other works of Tagore like The Crescent Moon, The Gardener, Home and the World, etc. Tagore's message of mutual understanding and tolerance is directed far beyond the boundaries of India to all cultures and to all men.
For me, he demonstrates the eternal voice of India. The fact that a man of his time could bring a message which is so relevant in today's world means that the voice of India can never be silenced. I hope to achieve by it a much better understanding among our Dutch friends and well-wishers of what India means today and what Indians can do to help Netherlands and India develop a much stronger bilateral relationship. But more than anything else, I would like to remove from the minds of my Dutch friends and well-wishers the traditional stereotypes about India, which used to exist all over Europe. India, the land of snake charmers and maharajas. India, the land of extreme poverty. India, the land where nothing works. So there is a tendency, I find, that whenever one talks about the positive aspect of India, then immediately somebody will immediately ask me about something negative about India, which I never do with my Dutch friends. If I tell them there's something positive about Netherlands, I don't immediately say after that what I find negative about Netherlands. That is because there is a stereotype. And it is my responsibility as the ambassador to address it, because I feel that as long as that stereotype persists, it will be very difficult to move the relationship forward beyond a certain point. And that would be a pity, because other European countries have moved very fast. So I would like to bring the relationship with Netherlands beyond that, make it stronger. And so that's what I'm trying to do in my own way.
Can we, the youth of the Western countries, like Holland or even America, identify ourselves with a man who was born 150 years ago on a completely different continent?
Since India, after breaking free of the chains of colonialization, they have successfully integrated new ideas while preserving old traditions.
Could you quote one of Tagore's ideas on the similarities between West and East?
Rabindranath Tagore was also a third world pioneer. If we would describe his thoughts in a saying, I would like to say this saying, that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. However, if you give him a fishing rod, you'll feed him for a lifetime. As you just heard, this man is all about sustainable development. Today's relevance is that we're still trying to help to develop the third world in a sustainable way. If we look at the brand fair trade, you can see that the new generation is still interpreting Tagore in their own way. Just like Tagore said, we should learn from each other. In conclusion, Tagore saying, don't limit a child to your own learning, for he is born in another time, becomes very relevant. Because as you can see, the new generation is using his ideas of the East and the West and many more in their own way, in their own time, by using them to create unity between countries, to learn new ideas, and to help the third world, ultimately making the world a better place. I would like to propose the motion that Tagore's ideas are very relevant for today's society.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leon.
So I'd like to ask Team B whether they are aware that history has a way of repeating itself, and that if we do not learn from the lessons of the past and the ideas that come from the past, we could end up making the same mistakes in the future as our ancestors did before us. So in that context, am I to understand that Team B is of the view that there are no ideas and no values that come down to us from our ancestors which are relevant in today's world of Brad Pitt and the short dresses and the internet and the mobile? And is that because Team B feels that these ideas are not being disseminated in today's educational system? Is that the problem?
Well, as we already stated, we do believe that we should learn from the past, but we simply don't have we have the time to learn, but we have to learn quickly. And therefore we can't make any mistakes, because we do feel the pressure to go on and plan ahead to solve the global issues we have right now. And as already stated, the older generations have put all their faith in us. And therefore, yes, we should learn from the past. And yes, we should not make the same mistakes, because that would be horrible. But we should also keep looking ahead instead of turning our heads back.
Number of 5 points.
Okay, I give it. How many points do you have, ma'am?
I have 22.
22.
22 as well.
Okay, so let's see.
That was so relevant. I'd like to thank the principal and all of you, and to say that it was very difficult for all of us, Rabin, the principal and myself, to come to a decision, because first of all, it was so difficult for Team B. It's always difficult when you have to argue against a universal motion. I remember when we were in the university and I had to argue against the notion that tolerance is a good thing. I had to argue against it. And a lot of people started screaming and booing me because I was saying the most incredible things. I was quite ashamed of what I was saying. But I actually won the first prize because they said that I said the most horrible things convincingly. So this is a debate. So we're not supposed to really believe in what we are saying. We are supposed to just indicate convincingly that the topic that we've got, we just go for it. So from that perspective, I think the 3 judges really appreciated the fact that Team B had a more difficult task, but they really went for it. And of course, we appreciated the way Team A stood up for the thoughts and philosophy of Tagore. So I just first of all like to say on behalf of the 3 judges that we need to first of all applaud all the 4, Team A and Team B. I have the great pleasure to say that after a long discussion, we thought actually that the most outstanding, the best debater among all the 4 was Claire. So let's give her a big hand. She's also much taller than me, so I'll have to stand in her chair and give it to her. Let's give you a hug.
Het onderwerp wat we vandaag hebben gedebatteerd was Tagore en of hij vandaag de dag nog relevant is of niet. Ik ben het met heel veel van zijn ideeën eens. Ik heb zijn quotes gegoogeld en ik vond heel veel van zijn quotes goed doordacht. En ja, vandaag de dag vind ik toch dat hij niet heel relevant is. Hij heeft hele goede ideeën, maar ik kan hem zelf persoonlijk niet linken met vandaag de dag, doordat ik gewoon niks over hem leer. In de media, Nederlandse media, is hij bijna niet te vinden. En zijn boeken zijn niet bekend in Nederland. En ook het feit dat hij niet populair is in Nederland helpt wel dat hij vrij onbekend is nog voor mij. Ik was in het debat tegen Tagore, dus toen ik aan het inlezen was over hem, vond ik het moeilijk om dingen tegen hem te vinden. En ik vond eigenlijk dat het een hele bijzondere man was, want hij heeft veel gedaan, Nobelprijs gewonnen, hij heeft Einstein ontmoet, vriend van Gandhi. Dus ja, ik vond het heel moeilijk om tegen hem te moeten zijn voor dit debat. Maar ik vond dat hij een hele goede idee had. Maar toch mis ik wel de relevantie in vandaag de dag. Ook gewoon het feit dat we niks over hem leren vandaag op school.
nou ja, ik was pro, maar ik ben eigenlijk in het echte leven ben ik ook gewoon pro. Want zoals Claire zei in het debat, is populair zijn, dat wordt nu met relevantie geassocieerd. Maar ik vind dat die link niet noodzakelijk gelegd is. Want je kan wel degelijk met ideeën geconfronteerd worden, ook zoals Tagore zegt, nieuwe ideeën leren, die dan ook heel relevant zijn, alleen waar je nog nooit van hebt gehoord. Ik vind het in ieder geval prachtig hoe deze man, nou ja, eigenlijk, ik zou Tagore omschrijven als een echte liberaal. Want hij accepteert dus andere culturen, al is hij het er niet mee eens, of mogelijk niet mee eens. Maar toch staat hij altijd open voor ideeën. De relevantie van Tagore vind ik tegenwoordig toch terug te vinden in zijn theorie over de eenheid van, nou ja, het één worden van de wereld. En dat nou ja, de wereld eigenlijk samen moet werken en zo kan dan nou ja, eigenlijk welvaart verkregen worden. Dat vind ik dus een heel relevant punt.
Gertrude came looking for his brother. I told him, fine if you want to work in the mines, they'll keep you alive as long as you can work. But if you want to fight, they'll crush you in a moment.
You have to die to live like a human being. What is wrong with that?
Angry again. But Nandini, this is humanity. Dogs don't eat dogs, but we humans, we have to devour other humans to grow.
He's hurt. Please see where he hurts.
Rabindranath Tagore actually indicates in a very beautiful way Tagore's message. Imagine at that time, he was speaking about the exploitation of Mother Earth, the mining, how they were sucking out from the earth and leaving dust instead, the red flower which was being crushed, that is to say the human spirit, and its impact on all those indentured labor who had been forced against their wishes to work in the mines. So globalization in that context was what Tagore in a way rejected for its negative aspect but embraced for its positive aspect. In other words, what Tagore wanted was the human face of globalization, what we call today sustainable development and an enabling environment. If you look at what Tagore said, it's actually very similar to what we are saying here today in the Netherlands or in India, which is a need to develop in a sustainable way, saving our environment and keeping it clean. That is exactly what Tagore was saying in Rabindranath Tagore.
They want to kill me because they are frightened of me. I will not die, even if they kill me.
Hagu, you have gone mad. Even our super is an easier.
I know you are dying to fight, but not this little girl. Come with me.
Open the door!
I'm busy. Go away.
There is no time. You have to listen to me.
Okay. Make it quick.
Let me in.
No! I have to get ready for the festival. Don't disturb me now.
I am not afraid of you anymore. I will not go. I have to see you, even if you kill me.
You want Ranjan? I've spoken to the super. They will bring him to you. Now go away.
Your festival can wait. Your people can't wait any longer.
Nandini, I am tired. Very, very tired. Go away.
I'm not going anywhere.
I am a strong feminist. And Tagore, when he set up his university in Shantiniketan, which means abode of peace, at that time and age, he made it co-educational. I firmly believe that the world will be a better place if women have their rightful place in society. And that for him, the education of women was very important. And this was because of the context in which Tagore came from. Tagore's father founded the Brahma Samaj. The Brahma Samaj broke with many aspects of what was considered to be decadent in those days and championed the cause of widow remarriage. In fact, leaders of the Brahma Samaj married widows for the first time, young widows, and this had a huge impact because in the beginning the traditionalists threw them out of society, but they were later on integrated. They spoke against many of the social evils of the day, and they laid the foundation for a very strong educational system in India, for men and women, because Tagore firmly believed that to empower women like man, but particularly women because they were not that well educated, you needed to establish a very sound educational system at the primary, secondary and tertiary level. And that is why in the late 30s, 40s, in Bengal for instance, unlike in other parts of India, women were very fully educated. My mother, she studied at Dhaka University. She had done her MA in philosophy at a time when many girls were not in other parts of India allowed to go to the university because university was co-educational. My paternal grandmother was a highly educated woman, again from Dhaka University. So these were traditions he established for women's education because he believed, as actually I do, that the only way to empower women is to educate them. As you educate them, they learn about their rights. How would a woman know about her human rights if she cannot read? If she cannot go out of the house? That when she's in the market, she cannot understand what is good for her, what is bad for her. How then can she educate her own daughter? Her own children? How then can she understand that it is important for her daughter not to be in the kitchen but to be in the school if she's not educated herself? So for me, like Tagore, I think the empowerment of women begins with education. It begins and ends with education because as you are educated, you learn what your rights are. मुझसे चले ये जहान, मुझसे है तेरी ये शान, मुझसे मिले भक्ति, मैं ही हूँ तेरी शक्ति, मुझसे मिले भक्ति, मैं ही हूँ तेरी शक्ति, सुनो 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 मेरी being an Indian woman, I was very proud of the fact that Gurudev, at that time and age, and this was followed by Mahatma Gandhi, who brought women into the national movement, he founded an institution at that day and age which was co-educational. So that profoundly influenced me because I gave the Foreign Service exam at the age of 21 and at the age of 22, I was in Paris on my first posting away from home, but I always had the thought of Gurudev and what he meant to me. And that was a great influence to me throughout my career. When you are a foreign service woman, you are lonely because as you become more and more senior, as you climb to the top, there is no place at the top for anybody but yourself. And that itself becomes a lonely life. And when you are a woman, whether in the West or in the East, there are always special challenges because you have to demonstrate that you are on top on everything. Home, family, life, cooking, embassy, all that is a challenge and all that adds to the loneliness. So in such a situation, you need a great poet and philosopher like Gurudev to give you that sustenance whenever you falter, that he is there to give you the right paths of encouragement. I enjoy solitude. I believe that a man or a woman is born with a soul. And if you have solitude, you can develop your soul. So to develop the eternal qualities within you, which you need to go through life, you have to have periods of solitude. Otherwise, how can you use your conscience? How can you think? So every thinker, everybody who wants to embrace righteousness has to have periods of solitude to reflect and think on life and what life means to you. In fact, Tagore spent so many hours and hours alone. And in the early part of his life, Tagore was an unhappy man. That is why when you read Gitanjali, for which he got the Nobel Prize, it has many dark poems. Because it was only later on in life he got the enlightenment and the happiness that comes from reflection and introspection. So, yes, very much, he did inspire me. in life one has to be very persistent. If you have a message, the message of righteousness, you have to persist. You have to persist in that solitary path I told you. And so I persisted because my path was very solitary in the beginning. Nobody, including in my own embassy colleagues, understood or appreciated what I was trying to do. Because for them, it was just a huge amount of extra work for which they couldn't see any concrete result. It's only later when things started falling into place that everybody understood that we were actually making a journey together into the Netherlands, going from place to place, taking Tagore's message. And that was a very exciting journey.